like to welcome everyone for your patience in waiting for the previous meeting to end. Thank you. What we have this evening are 2 action items and 2 information items that have come before us. First is the action items. Yes. Where is the new student representative? Yes. I'd like to welcome you, Gabriella Berenzueta.
Berenzueta.
And so you are a new member and welcome.
I'm glad to be here.
I have 2 action items and 2 information items, so I'd like to have the approval of the minutes. And if you'll see those, the last ones were here in January. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend, and I want to thank Trustee Frida Foster for doing a really superb job in my absence. I appreciate that very much. Now may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of January?
So moved. Second.
Can I have a second? Second. Are there any discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Action item B, the amendment to the CUNY policy on drugs and alcohol. I would like to call on Vice Chancellor Frank Sanchez to provide a brief summary on the amended policy on drugs and alcohol.
Great, thank you. This policy amends the board's policy adopted in 2009 that prohibits students from possessing or consuming alcohol beverages in any CUNY residence hall. Although this prohibition is not limited to those under the lawful drinking age, a significant percentage of undergraduates in CUNY residence halls are, in fact, younger than the lawful drinking age of 21. Recently, the university opened a residence hall that will provide housing to graduate and doctoral students who attend the CUNY Graduate Center. All of those students are expected to be over the lawful drinking age. Accordingly, the university is amending the drug and alcohol policy to make an exception to the prohibition against alcoholic beverages for students living in the CUNY Graduate Center housing facilities.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor Sanchez. Now I'd like to move on to the 2 information items.
Well, I think we need to,
Don't,
Oh, I'm
do
sorry.
we have to
Please
move on
forgive me.
these, don't we?
Yeah, we have to. May I have a motion to approve? So move. Okay.
Second.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Now we'll move on to the information items. Information item A, notice of amendments to Article 15 of the bylaws of the Board of Trustees. And I would like to call again on Vice Chancellor Frank Sanchez to give a brief summary of the notice of the amendments to Article 15.
Great, thank you. Notice is served of proposed amendments to Article 15 of the bylaws of the Board of Trustees. This is the section of the bylaws that deals with student conduct. The proposed amendments continue to be vetted with various committees throughout the university. These include the Council of the Chief Student Affairs Officers, the University Faculty Senate Committee for Student Affairs and Special Programs, the Council of President Committees for Student Affairs and Special Programs, the Campus Judicial Officers, and the University Student Senate. I would also just briefly, I'd like to invite General Counsel, Senior Vice Chancellor Rick Schaefer to provide an overview of some of these changes.
We began some time ago to revise Article 15 of the bylaws, and coincidentally, there was a long-standing project in my office to update and simplify the bylaws generally, because there are many, many provisions of the bylaws, some of them going back to the 1970s that are out of date. These 2 projects sort of coincidentally coincided, and so we will be bringing to the board at the June board meeting. Notice will be given at the board meeting in April of the overall changes to the bylaws, which include these changes to Article 15. So the 2 will really occur as one package at the June board meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay. Moving. Yes.
report.
I think Gabby also had a question.
No, you can go ahead.
I just wanted to just let you know that the University Student Senate is reviewing the Article 15 changes that was done last year when the proposal was also presented, and we do have several concerns about it, and we're going to be communicating with Vice Chancellor Sanchez's office about the concerns that we have. I also just wanted to get a better sense of, you said the timeline is to have information at the April board meeting?
April, we give notice of an intent to amend bylaws, because you have to do it at least one meeting in advance.
Okay.
And then the hope is to get it done at the June board meeting.
So if you can provide any edits, suggestions, recommendations, really, as soon as you can, that would be
Yeah.
ideal, so that others vetting it can kind of see the recommendations the students are making.
Okay.
My office had taken into account, obviously, a lot of the recommendations that the University Students' Senate made a year ago. And this is pretty much the draft, I think it's pretty much the draft you saw at the end of that process. But obviously, if you have more comments and
Indeed.
concerns, we'll be happy to discuss them with you.
Okay, that's fair.
Anyone else, Gabriella?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to just thank Senior Vice Chancellor Schaefer and Vice Chancellor Sanchez for taking into consideration some of the things that were brought up at the last USS meeting. But also want to bring your attention specifically to section 15.3 on the student disciplinary procedures. Section B, there is a change from the word shall to should. The students, at least at Queens College, believe that the word shall should be kept instead of should, only because it kind of leaves an open question as to how long it could take to take action on a certain case. So.
Yeah, that was one of the notices. I just looked at it and I had the same concern, and that's something the USS had a concern with last year as well. The change from shall to should. The should really does leave it open-ended, and it looks like these procedures could just keep on going. And I think it's problematic.
Well, I'm sure you'll have other comments as well, and when we meet, we'll go over each
Yeah,
of
that's
these.
good.
I mean, I don't see any issue with that, but
Yeah.
Okay.
go.
We'll now call on Vice Chancellor Sanchez for the Vice Chancellor's report.
Great, thank you. Well, in the interest of time, I'll just highlight really two updates. One is I wanted to give you an update on the Japan earthquake and tsunami relief effort. At the Chancellor's request, the Office of Student Affairs has taken the lead the university's relief effort to assist Japan in collaboration with city and state agencies as well as disaster relief organizations. I was able to convene an emergency meeting on March 21st here in the Kiwi boardroom, central office. Topics discussed at the meeting included grief and personal counseling, support for students and staff affected by the earthquake, sensitivity to students who may be forced to withdraw from spring classes but are unable to follow proper withdrawal procedures for the spring, and the CUNY relief effort. The meeting was attended by a number of representatives from the mayor's office, the Japanese consulate in New York, the Japan International Christian University Foundation, the CUNY Asian Research Institute, Senior Vice Chancellor Jay Hershenson, a number of faculty, staff, and campus relief coordinators. Our office has accounted for all students, faculty, and staff who were in Japan at the time of the earthquake. The second update item I'd like to share has to do with the CUNY revised tobacco policy. I sent out an email just this past week to the college presidents and deans on the CUNY revised tobacco policy. In order to ensure a smooth transition to a smoke-free campus, the Central Office of Student Affairs has created a CUNY tobacco policy work plan, which includes guidelines and an implementation plan template. Accordingly, a smoke-free implementation training workshop is scheduled for Friday, April 29th, 2011 at the CUNY Graduate Center. It is recommended that each campus implementation chair attend this training along with one or two other members of the implementation working group. More details about the workshop will follow. And at another time, we're going to share some new websites of centralized services that we've brought kind of into focus at central in student affairs. One has to do with doing a policy inventory and identifying all the policies associated with students and creating one central clearinghouse for policies, allowing us to identify which policies need to be updated and then which policies are there gaps. Do we see gaps in the policy structure? Another has to do with an initiative on financial literacy. And this is, again, a centralized website sharing all the resources and all the programming and all the support that's happening across our 23 institutions. But it also will provide resources to our financial aid offices and other offices that provide workshop and support for students. And so this is the financial literacy website. We were able to receive a small grant, or will be receiving a small grant, about $150,000 to create a real high-tech, high-touch approach to this website, so that virtually every face you see on there will be a video with students talking to you about how to take care of your finances. And then lastly, we're working on a professional development website. In these times of lean budgets, I think it's important that we still find ways to provide our exceptional staff with tools and resources and information about our profession. And so we are developing a centralized student affairs website with national reports and best practices by functional unit. And I think it will be a great resource, not just for Central Student Affairs, but really for student affairs professionals throughout all of CUNY. And so that concludes my report at this time.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor Sanchez. Are there any questions? Comments? I have one comment. I think the financial literacy page is just absolutely phenomenal. I did have a chance to go through it. I was able to get on the link, and it's a long time coming, and I think the students are going to appreciate very much, especially from my interaction with students on most of the campuses. So this would be ideal for them. Great job. Great. Appreciate it. If there are no other questions, may I have a motion to adjourn? So moved. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much for coming.